bill.
Call Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Chair. And just to pick up off where the Minister left there around the question of penalties in Clause 125, I want to congratulate the Minister on that amendment. I think, as she's noted, the change here is a significant one. Moving from, even my maths can tell you that moving from 600,000 to 10 million, there's a lot more zeros, and it's certainly something that on this side of the House we're very pleased to see has been included. I think there was a feeling in the Select Committee and in the submissions that came in that the amounts of money that were being considered in terms of penalties simply weren't adequate for the possible damage and the seriousness with which this Parliament would view such a matter. So I do want to congratulate the Minister on that particular clause. And in the spirit of that, seek her agreement to Moana Maki's changes to Clause 125, 2, 3 and 4. Which are outlined on SOP number 103. These are other fines that we believe that are other penalties, that we believe should also be increased in order to indicate the seriousness with which we would deal with these. Sorry, is there someone over there who's not enjoying this? No. Under 125. Sorry to keep Judith Collins, but it's only the small matter of the destruction of part of the marine environment. No need for the Minister to stay awake for that. None whatsoever. Both the protection, actually, that's right, Jigden. So 1252 covers the. Well, no, I'm the one who's actually trying to make a serious point here. 1252, every person who commits an offence who is also liable on conviction if the offence is a continuing one to a fine not exceeding $10,000. Moana Maki is proposing for that to be increased to $100,000, and then carrying on for 1253, where it's a summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $10,000, and if the offence is a continuing one, to a further fine not exceeding $1,000 for every day. Moana Maki is proposing that be increased to $10,000 every day as well. So these are in line with the amendments that the Minister has already proposed, and I would hope that she would see fit to adopt those along with the one that she herself has proposed. Mr Chair, the other matter in Part 3 that I would like to draw attention to is Clause 103 around appeals on questions of law. And on this clause, Mr Chair, we believe that the government has taken a far too narrow approach on two specific points. Firstly, the point that appeals can only be on questions of law and not also on questions of fact, and also the place to which appeals may go, in this case proposed to the High Court. My colleague Charles Chauvel has a supplementary order paper that proposes both amending so that appeals can be on the question of law and fact, and also that those appeals should find their way to the Environment Court. There is a lack of full appeal rights in this particular law, and this is one of those issues where we welcomed the Minister making this bill more consistent with the Resource Management Act and the Purpose Clause. We didn't think it went quite far enough. Here is another example where we believe more consistency with the Resource Management Act would be the appropriate thing to do, particularly around the question of where these appeals should go. The Environment Court was the place under the RMA that drove the development of case law. It was the place in which there was further policy development as a result of the Environment Court being involved. And it does seem to me, Mr Chair, that in the case of the EEZ we are going to see a significant amount of case law develop over time, and that the Environment Court is the appropriate place for that to go. The question of whether or not the EPA actually has the expertise to deal with everything is certainly one that I would raise here, but more to the point, I think the Environment Court has the experience through the RMA process to play a very important role here, and that is the appropriate place for appeals to go. We also do believe that those appeals should be beyond just matters of law. That is a very limiting provision. Again, these are going to be significant cases that are going to be taken here. These are going to be people who have concerns that won't be able to be dealt with through perhaps the processes of the EPA processes. There will be occasions in which the EPA perhaps doesn't have the competence in law to be able to deal with these matters.
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. Time has come for me to report progress.
The House has resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Exclusive Economic Zone and Continental Shelf Environmental Effects Bill and reports progress. The committee has also considered the Taxation, Annual Rates, Returns, Filing and Remedial Matters Bill and reports no progress. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those for that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary no. The ayes have it. The bills are set down for further consideration in committee next sitting day, and it only remains for me to state that the House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Good evening, everybody.